going to try to do a 10-minute or less video with the Captor X AXIO interface and two Princeton reverbs. The first is going to be a DI capture, and the second will be with a cabinet. So first things first, in your DAW, go ahead and load up the wave file V1-1-1, and in the Captor X, I'm going ahead and I'm bypassing everything to get that DI signal. And the AXIO output 5 is amp out, so I'm going to go ahead and use that to do the reamping. And then I'm going to send that from the Captor back into line 1 on the AXIO. So first thing, on the right side of the AXIO is the amp out. We'll send that into the Princeton for the reamping. That'll go out of the Princeton into the Captor X in the back. Speaker level right here. Speaker, and it carries the load. And then over here, this is where we go direct out back into the AXIO. We're going to cut down the file length and make them match perfectly. I'm going to do a quick zoom in to make sure everything's lining up. All the little dots are lining up. And zoom back out. And that looks good. Going to go ahead and freeze it in Ableton 11, freeze. And then we'll flatten and then export. Now when you flatten it, it turns it into a stereo track. So we're going to change it back to mono. 24-bit, 4800. Now, the normalizing feature in Ableton 11 Live causes it to clip for me. So I go ahead and open Audacity, and what I like about that is I can set the decibel level to be -1, and that'll make sure that it doesn't clip when we go over to the Google Collab and start actually training. Okay, so we have the wave file set up. This is our DI Princeton. Let's go ahead and turn back on the cab on the right side there in the Captor X. And I'm going to go ahead and select the Princeton cabinet that I have with an SM57. And I included this part here because I tested it out and I forgot to engage in my track to actually record. So I included that because these are the little things that we do, and I'm still messing with these types of settings. I'm not sure if these are the best settings for just running the track right through. I noticed that the signal was a little bit quiet, so I went ahead and kicked it back up a little bit, and then here's my official run with the cabinet. So at the end of the video, we'll have 4 different samples. 2 will be hand-wired, and they're both DI, and then the third will be a DI from a 65 Princeton reissue, and then the last one will be with the cabinet right here on the 65 reissue. Same thing, export 24-4800. After you flatten and freeze, or freeze and flatten, open it in Audacity. Normalize, -1 dB. You can pick whatever you'd like, but this seems to work pretty well here. Go ahead and save it up. All right, we're done with this. So let's close everything out and head over to Google Collab. I'm not sure if you need to do this, but I go ahead and it says to pick the GPU, but it's already there, so I click none, then back over to GPU. Click the little folder right here, and it's going to ask you a couple of times along the way if you're a robot, just to make sure you're kind of engaged and working. So I'm going to go ahead and find my files, the original wave 1-V1-1-1, and also I included this as a mistake. I brought my wave file over, but I didn't remember to rename it as output.wave. So it can't have anything right here. It has to be output.wave, and it has to match the V1-1-1 wave perfectly. And you can get that file right here on the collab page. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, but after I run the second step. So it takes about 20 seconds on my computer to run. And all you do is click the button right there, and it automatically loads everything. And then right here, I changed it from 100 to 200, and it just makes it a little bit of a stronger capture. Takes a little more time. And right here's when I notice that these have to match, and it has to say output.wave. And so get rid of that, do some renaming, and bring over the file. All right, we're in business. Here we go. Now with this capture, I had my reverb on just a little bit. I didn't realize I had it on, and I'm wondering if that makes a difference in the capturing, because I've gotten pretty good capturing. 0.008 is typically what I land at, and so I ran through them. This one's a little bit off. It's good and it sounds great, but it's not as strong as what it's been before. So I'm wondering if that reverb had anything to do with it. So this is our DI. So I'm going over here behind the scenes and I'm getting the file, renaming it, putting the one on there that has the cab, of course, named as output.wave. And let's run, while we're here, let's run a second one. So go ahead and click play on the third step and we're ready to go. So here comes the next one. And this is real time about how long it takes. And here's our second one, and you'll notice that this one is a great fit. The ESR number is really low, 0.007, and the graph really just looks like it's matching up and all the frequencies are lining up. So it seems this is typically what they've been looking like, and so I wonder if that reverb is messing it up, or maybe I just got maybe not the best one when I made this video. So all right, let's go ahead and head up to actually it takes me a second to get there, to the exported models. We'll download the two models that we have now. Version 1, version 2. You might see a version 0. And so it's going to go ahead and start downloading those. And let's go ahead and get ready to load these into the Neural Amp Modeler plugin and see what it looks like, and I'll give you a couple different options of things to try. All right, here we go.